What's going on? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics, and up next, we are going to talk about a huge $10,000 mistake that someone just made. Try to help others avoid that same mistake in the future. Let's check this out. All right, so before we get started, please remember to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. So what we're going to be talking about here is a sale that happened very recently on the Heritage Weekly comic auction, specifically as part of the Silver Age books. So maybe if you were the person that purchased this book, you might, try to cancel this purchase, save yourself, about $10,000 because there was a big $10,000 mistake that I was made aware of. I hadn't been watching this book because it wasn't one that I would normally pay a whole bunch of attention to, but someone sent me a message on Instagram about it. And so I decided it would be an interesting topic to make a video about. And the book I'm talking about, I actually do have a copy of the book. And this is my copy right here. And this is, oh wow, it's an Amazing Spider-Man #1 and a 9.4 of like millions of dollars. Wrong. So this is the Golden Record reprint, which is still from 1966. This is still a Silver Age book. It's a very old comic. This is running on 57 years old now. And so this is, a legitimate Silver Age book, and it is a valuable book. There is a lot of value to this book because it does look exactly like the original, and it's an old reprint. But the mistake that happened in this auction was that it appears that at least two people thought it was an original because it actually got bid up. And so let's check out this sale. So here's this sale. And this one's a 6.0. Like mine was a 9.4. And a 9.4, they've sold anywhere from around I think around 1,500 to 1,800 up to around 5,000. So right now it seems to be around a $2,000 book for a 9.4. So for a 6.0, it's quite a bit less than that. Now, this book does have a lot of like base value. It's pretty expensive in any grade, but a 6.0 is probably around a $600 book, maybe a $1,000 book. You can see here, this person paid $11,100. And this is definitely the, the Golden Record reprint. And it's not like they hide it. It says reprint on it 3 different times. You've got Golden Record reprint here, Golden Record reprint right in the middle, and then another reprint just in case you missed the first 2 directly underneath the year, so that it's very obvious what you're buying when it's graded. Now, when it's not graded, it's definitely trickier. Now, the thing that you look for to know that it's the reprint is it doesn't have the price. The original will have that price on the cover. There is no price on the cover for the reprint. So that's the thing that's the real dead giveaway right away with the book. But someone probably thought they got a great deal on this because an Amazing Spider-Man #1 in a 6.0 goes for anywhere from around $17,000 to $20,000 right now. I think the last sale was a little over 17. I'd probably value it in around 18 to 20. And so like maybe somebody was like, "Oh man, I stole this book for $11,000," but the reality is they overpaid by over $10,000. So let's check out GPA for this. So if you look up Amazing Spider-Man #1 on GPA, you'll get a whole bunch of results. The 2 that are relevant here are this one right here from 1963, Marvel Comics, and there's another one from 1966. This is the reprint. They will actually, I believe they'll both show up inside the same listing when you click on it. So you can see here we've got the 1963 one. So if we go down to a 6.0, you can see that last sale of $17,102 from October, which I honestly feel like was low. I feel like that was on the low side, especially when you look at a 5.5, at 19,000, a 6.5, 28,000. Now those were a few months ago, but I feel like the 17,000 was on the low side. That's why I think probably an $18,000 to a $20,000 book. But if we scroll down, you can see here we have 1966. This is the reprint. This is Golden Record reprint. Let's see if it's been pulled in, and it has. So we have this sale that's been pulled in now, $11,100. Looks a little outside the price trend for this book. So you can see the biggest sale ever for this in a 6.0 was 1,256. The low this year was 840. It had a sale around 1,200. So this year had been going around $1,200. It's about $1,000 book, which is always real interesting with this one because the pricing is real strange. Like I said, like I've got a 9.4. And a 9.4 sold earlier this year for 1,676. We had a 9.2 for 2,295. And I know right now, I think on eBay, I have it listed around 2,000, and there's another copy around 2,000. It's like it costs a lot to get into the book. Like it's going to cost you around $1,000. But then to get a higher grade copy, it doesn't cost you that much more until you hit like a 9.8. You can see this one at 9,000. So it's a real weird pricing on this book. But I mean, this, I assume the person that bought this will realize it and either contact Heritage and, ask to not pay for this book, or when they receive the book, they'll realize what they've done and then try to return it. I'm guessing that's how this is going to play out, but maybe they won't. Maybe they'll never realize that they bought the reprint and, that they paid $11,000 for about a $1,100 book, about $10,000 over the price. Now, I thought, again, it would just be real useful to quickly show a real copy, an original copy that sold. And so if we look at a 6.0, here's one on Comic Connect, you can see it's got that 12-cent price up here in the corner. Then if we look at the one that sold here, does not have that price. So that's what I'm talking about. That's the real quick, like dead giveaway that you're at least not dealing with an original. Maybe it doesn't necessarily mean it's the Golden Record reprint. To see that, I'm sure you're just looking in on the indicia. I've never had a raw copy. I've only had the graded copy. So I'd assume you look inside on the indicia and it's going to tell you what it is. But this is the dead giveaway that you do not have an original if it's missing that price. That would also be a reason, like if you were buying a raw copy online and you saw that somebody had, say, like a piece that was missing this top corner up here, I'd be a little cautious. I'd be, make sure you check that book when you get it. If you're buying it raw, that somebody wasn't trying to sell you one of these, and then pulling that out. Now you can see the other thing that's different here is it doesn't have the 1. So if we jump back and forth, there's no 1 here. So there are a couple things that are just a little bit different on it. It is very similar though. Like you can understand how somebody could easily make this mistake if they were able to ignore the fact that the listing says reprint, that says reprint 3 times on the label. I mean, who knows? Maybe somebody was, drinking too much before the Heritage auction and just wasn't paying attention. But it's the fact that it took 2 people. There had to be at least 2 people that had made the same mistake for this to happen. And I don't think, I know some people say like, oh, it could be money laundering or that kind. I don't think that's what this is. I think it was just a mistake that a couple people made that they didn't realize what they were actually bidding on. But if you're interested in these reprints, because like I said, I've owned a couple of them. I've owned the Journey into Mystery 83, and I obviously still own the Amazing Spider-Man #1. They're cool books. They're cool alternatives to the first prints because those first prints are obviously extremely expensive. And if you still want something from the Silver Age that has that same kind of like aged look and feel, Golden Record reprint is a pretty good option. And they made 4 of them. So what I've got here is the first one here, just kind of so you can see what they originally came in. This is Heritage looking up the sold listings for Amazing Spider-Man 1, and they came in these like record cases like this. And this is why you will often see very high grade copies. Having books that are in the 9s, even 9.8s, is not uncommon because it's almost like they were boarded. They were like most comics maybe wouldn't have been bagged and boarded back then, but this is almost like these were books that were boarded. And so they were kept in very good shape. And so, for example, like the Journey into Mystery 83, I used to own 2 9.8s of that book. And so you can definitely get 9.8s of these. But the other 2 that exist are, you've got, like I said, Journey into Mystery 83. So if we go and check that one out, and we've got the 1962. And then just 4 years later, you had the 1966 Golden Record reprint. If we go take a look at one of these 9.8s, go find one here. Oh man, nothing to click on. There we go. Find one of these 9.8s. And you can see, again, they don't have the price and it does not have the number, like the issue number on here. But otherwise, looks very, very similar. Is a great option for for owning a early copy, of Journey into Mystery number 83, first appearance of Thor. So this is one of them. So again, that's the thing, look out for the price and the number missing. Next one is Avengers number 4, that first appearance of or first Silver Age appearance of Captain America. This one's even closer to the original release date. We had 1964, then we have the reprint. Again, these were all done in 1966. So if we go down to 1966, we've got the Golden Record reprint. And again, we've got 9/8 out there. I don't know if that one, oh, can't actually see that one. Let's see if maybe we can see this one here. Yep. So we see this one. This looks like a pedigree copy. So here's a 9/8. And again, this one has a little bit different feel to it. I would say this one has a little bit more of a different feel than the others, but again, doesn't have the price and doesn't have the issue number. And of course, they still say reprint multiple times on the label. So it's very obvious that this is a reprint. But you got that one. And then the last one is Fantastic Four number 1. This one had the biggest gap. We have 1961 up to 1966. And so again, let's take a look at this Golden Record reprint. And you can see for Fantastic Four number 1, 9/8 going around $5,000. Now, the other thing I thought it would just be interesting to see, like, what's that price difference? So, a 9/0 here, Fantastic Four number 1 goes for around $1,000. So about $1,000 book. What's the 9/0 for Fantastic Four number 1 in the original? Last sale, June of this year, 234,000 for a 9/0 in November of last year. This book has been trending down, so I wouldn't be surprised if it sold for less, maybe like 180 or something like that. But still, like 180,000 versus about $1,000 for Fantastic Four number 1. With Avengers number 4, a 9/0 going again around $1,000. Looks like maybe I would say it's probably closer to about 650 to 700 for that 9/0. Then if we go up to the 9/0 of the original, last sale 12,500. But again, a book that has been trending down, so one I wouldn't be surprised if this sold for quite a bit less, probably closer to 8,000 right now, but still a lot less expensive. This is one where I'd be more likely to go for the original, just because you can get a low grade copy for around $1,000, and I would definitely target a low grade copy over the reprint. And I think that's one of the things that really drives the value in Fantastic Four number 1, the Journey into Mystery 83, and the Amazing Spider-Man number 1 is those are so expensive already, even in low grades. Getting the reprint is kind of like a savings. But the Avengers number 4, you get some crossover in the value. So if we take a look at the Journey into Mystery number 83, what's a 9/0 go for with this one? Around 105,000 for the last sale. Again, wouldn't be surprised if this is dropped. Probably somewhere around 75,000 is where I would see this likely sell. But a 9/0 of that reprint is just going to cost you about $800. So this is where you could have these up on your shelf. You could have some books that really do look like you've got those first appearances, those huge books, only going to cost you maybe about $800 to $1,000 for really nice presenting copies, and they could be placeholders until you maybe end up getting some of the originals. And you could have that Amazing Spider-Man 1, Journey into Mystery 83, Avengers 4, and Fantastic Four number 1. Not a bad option. These really aren't bad options out there. But yeah, I thought this was just a really interesting sale. I see this happen every once in a while where there are sales that just don't make sense to me, where I just don't understand how this book got bid up that high. This one I can understand how it can happen, but still it seems so unlikely. And this one was such a huge outlier compared to generally the other cases that I see, that I thought that this would be an interesting one to make a video about and talk about. And like I said, maybe the person that won this watches my channel and it will help them realize what they did, and they can maybe save themselves the hassle of trying to get their money back and returning this and all of that. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell, all that kind of stuff. I've got more videos over here. If you'd like to watch some of my other videos, subscription button is right here. Please subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video.